special edition of Digital Goatz Academy. I'm your host, Antoine Farrar. It is February 7th, 2:02 p.m. And welcome, guys. Today, what I wanted to go over, well, one, today is our market overview. I decided to do it at 2 p.m. today, Eastern time, just because that it was non-farm payroll today, NFP. So if you're not familiar, and you just started trading, you probably got real acquainted to it. If you was trading on a Friday, which I don't really recommend doing. And if you do trade on a Friday, the best advice I can give is be out the market by like 10 a.m., 10:30. You know what I'm saying? The information that you have from the previous day is not valid, once non-farm payroll is. There's so many uncertainties. And, if you guys were trading today, you probably noticed that. So let's talk about actually what happened, one throughout this week, but also what happened during NFP and where we could look at the market possibly going, right? Obviously, I might jump to a Forex pair, but I like to remain, I'm pretty much biased on indices now. Once you develop yourself to that level, you'll see that's where the money's at. So I highly encourage everybody who gets to a comfortable level, financially, start trying to learn how to tackle these indices because the payouts better, the movements are cleaner when you learn them. But again, figure out whatever works for you. So what we're going to go over is US 30, S&P 500, and Bitcoin. And like I said, I'll probably look at a Forex pair or a commodity. But this week, US 30, well, if we look at what US 30 has been doing the past couple of weeks, right? Let me clean this up. Now, obviously, I'm gonna keep my I'm gonna keep my zones. They're important to me, right? So what we've been seeing US 30 do the past couple of weeks is ranging, and it's even broken below the range. Well, the range that I had initially, which it created another level of support or another range that you could look that the market could possibly want to come back to. This, now that we have more data, is the more accurate, you know what I'm saying? Accurate depiction of the range, of seeing it at its high point, at its low. Yesterday, yeah, was that yesterday? Yeah, yesterday is when the market dropped. It completely dropped right here. And again, like it's not rocket science, but it's also not a surprise, you know what I'm saying? Possibly the market could have broke this resistance, but you see it drop. So once it dropped, and then you got the confirmation around this area, everybody should have known that the market was continuing to drop. Not even that, even from this morning it dropped at 10 a.m., which I'll discuss something later on. Well, one, you guys would have to subscribe to my Patreon and access my Discord. But I'll talk about that later with my community and stuff, how they can spot like these opportunities within the market to take advantage of it. So currently, until we hit this low point in the market, we have to obviously say or objectively say that the market is selling currently right now. Sellers are strong in the market, and until they find some type of structure that they want to support, then they'll continue just driving down, if y'all see that, right? So that's what US 30 has started doing today. But again, from last week, it gaps. This is stuff that you have to pay attention to. Even if you don't know what it is, like I can't explain to you guys why these gaps happen in the market, but I noticed them. For my technicals, like I noticed them. So if I notice them in the market, I have to annotate it somehow, or I have to remind myself that it's even visibly there. One, on TradingView. Why am I stuck today? TradingView, but also on your broker platform that you trade with. So like I use TradeLocker. Maybe you're still overseas and use MetaTrader 4, whatever trading platform you're using to trade foreign exchange. Obviously, this is related to foreign exchange. I would hope you know that if you're on this channel. But anyway, right here, a gap appeared. Now, that was something that you had to identify, because here's what's the important thing that you need to be doing within the market, right? You need to be scaling up and scaling down. I'm pretty sure you've heard that terminology from some whiz kid that probably taught you how to trade, right? That is accurate. That is very accurate in the market, right? You need to scale up and scale down, and you need to get different views and angles of the market. That means this icon up here where it says candles. I mean, again, I hope y'all know how to use your trading view by now. I mean, I don't think I need to go into a lesson, but say you're just curious. This icon up here to the upper left hand that my cursor's on, it says candles. What I can do is I can turn these candles to different versions, like a line or volume of candles, hollow candles, anything that I need to get a better depiction of the market. Or you may use this, there's some guys, especially like probably within the stock market, stock traders, they're probably using tools like this, and they may use it for various reasons. I feel like the more simplistic you are with trading, the easier it is. But again, I'm not a stock trader, at the stock market. So I'm a retail trader like everybody else. But I do feel like if you just make it more simplistic, it's a little bit easier to read, right? So the one thing that I think people do need to start doing more is turning their chart to a line chart and going to different various time frames. Let me get these Fibonacci tools up out of here. That's annoying me. So to get a better depiction of what the market is doing based off the line chart, because technically structure is made on the line chart, even though when we see the market like touch areas based off of like wicks on the candlesticks, you know what I'm saying? Like wicks. I mean, when you turn it to a line chart, it doesn't show that it's there. You see what I'm saying? So you guys see how there's lines. So look at this, like the market drop, pushed up, but it's not showing this when I turn it to a line. There's even a gap right here. Are y'all seeing that? You got to pay attention and stuff like that. But I mean, I wasn't looking for that gap, and I'm sure that I don't even think I was trading US 30 at this time, but I am trading it actively now. So you see these wicks, these lines, they don't even exist when you turn it to a line chart, but the structure exists. So this dip, you can see it in candlestick form. That's something that you want to pay attention to. Because if you see a candlestick you see a candlestick, but you don't see it in the form of a line chart. Let me show y'all. So this is US 30, right? This is our gap. Let's make it that orange. It's ugly, but let's make that orange. This is our gap, right? So you see that, oh snap, there's a candlestick. You know what I'm saying? Like based off the 45-minute time frame, there's a candlestick there. Oh snap, wow, man, I see a candlestick. I go to the hour, there's still a candlestick, right? Okay. Let me go to the 4-hour, because again, we're scaling out. There's still a candlestick, right? All right, let me go to the daily. Daily, weekly is like the max, what you should be looking at. There's still a candlestick on the daily. Let me see on the weekly. And I'm pretty sure y'all like, what is this dude even talking about? Like, okay, the weekly, you can't really see it no more. So the daily is the highest time frame that we're looking at to identify that I see a candle right here in this gap. So this gap existed, but I see a candlestick here. So based off of what I learned in trading, that should give me some type of information, just like these candles over here. You would think, right? But let's go back to the 45-minute time frame without going like, extremely low. Let's turn it to a line chart. Now, the line chart, I see that information. It's in a line form. But I know that that's a gap in candlestick form. I'm not trying to confuse y'all. Now let me go out in the line chart to the hour time frame. I still see that. Let me even confirm in candlestick form. There's a gap there, but oh snap, I see it. I see this information in a line chart. Let me go to the 4-hour time frame. Okay, same thing. I still see that information. We already verified that there is a candlestick there, but we still see that gap, but we see the information where the gap is at. All right. Let me go to a daily time frame. Now here's what people got to pay attention to. Man, I got all this stuff down here. Okay, we see that. There's a candlestick right there. Let me turn it to a line chart. Oh, snap. Hold up. Why don't I see a candlestick there? I mean, like a dip there. You see how if I go back to the candlestick right here, like in this zone, if you can see where my cursor's at, like in this zone, see how it dips down and pops up? And when I turn it to a line chart, it's there. It's showing that it dips down and pops up. But then when I go over here to this candle on the daily time frame, turn it to a line chart, how come it's not? That's crazy. How come it's not like, how come it's not doing that? How come it didn't do that? You know what I'm saying? So y'all probably confused now, like I was when I saw that, but I had to scale out and I found that information later on that there's not a candle, even though there's a candlestick there, there's not structure confirming that structure there. So knowing how like these lines move, these line charts move, once I got my verification that the market is selling, like I knew that US 30 was selling from here because it has to cover this information. You know what I'm saying? You'll start seeing the flow of how the market goes up, down, and it creates these dips. It creates these, you probably heard valleys and hills, valleys and hills, right? So these are hills. I should have seen a valley and that would have so basically with this information right here, like even though like there was a gap there, but there was a candlestick. But when we turned it to a line chart, that gap did not exist. I mean, the gap was there, but the candlestick did not exist. See what I'm saying? So if this was a valley, then the market probably would have continued up. But since I identified that early on, once we got here, I knew that the market was selling. I wasn't sure how high it was going to go, but it accurately bounced off my range. I did not modify this since I drew it on this side. You know what I'm saying? The market, accurately bounced off this area, which again, it still pushed up a little bit high. So it did come all the way up here. But the structure that it closed at, so even if I jumped in and I don't know if anybody would have been able to handle the backlash from that without getting stopped out, depending on how you was moving. But say I did, or I waited for the position. Once the candle closed on the daily time frame yesterday, like you pretty much knew, you know what I'm saying? So it's like pay attention to that type of stuff and scale in, scale out, look at the market all the way around, but not to confuse yourself, just to get more information because as more data is pushed into the market, you get a clearer view of what the technicals is trying to show you. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to take advantage of the buy up. I bought this up because I did think that it was going to break out. But once I actually, I don't know what even made me like, I knew that gap was there, but I don't even know what made me go out to the line chart because I always go through the line chart, but on a daily time frame for me to even spot that, oh man, I need to this market will probably drop and try to cover this whenever it does. I don't know when it is, but it will probably try to cover it sooner than later. And when it does, I want to be in position. So like even with NFP, it was still clear. The only confusion was how NFP was moving. You know what I'm saying? NFP was actually pretty docile today. It wasn't violent. If you paid attention to the market, you could see like you can kind of see how these moves were like operating, you know what I'm saying? And nothing is guaranteed, but I can tell you that like everything that I pretty much analyzed in the market responded. You know what I'm saying? You're not perfect. And these weren't like sniper entries, but I mean, going in the direction that I wanted at that time, yeah, too easy. So what I can say is that US 30 indices, they're probably coming down all the way. They're probably going to even break this. Um, of course, with pullback. So we got to see how the market responds like next week if it's selling. or if it's going to create a gap, like it could create a whole nother gap down here, like for next week. So yeah, I think that we should be looking for after it like breaks its consolidation, for indices to come down. But from from there, we'll find a buy point. Like we'll find a buy point once it gets like somewhere down here, even to this support structure. But I don't want to talk too much into the future. I want to remain like in the present where we're currently at. So as far as we know right now, like the market is selling. You know what I'm saying? Like we may have pullbacks next week as it continues to break. What it'll probably do is that it'll probably drop. It'll probably continue to drop, right? Sunday, it'll probably fake people out and then drop down, and then it'll probably try to recover everything that it gave out Tuesday. You know what I'm saying? Probably we'll see. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing is promised, but I know that when I was listening to Bloomberg this morning, first indication that I got was that they were talking about Amazon. Amazon was having negative sale. I forgot what the news was, man. I really forgot, but something with that impacted Amazon negatively. So I knew that that was gonna make the market respond in that like in a negative way. And once 10 a.m. came, it was all she wrote from there. So I think if you're in US 30, you know what I'm saying? Like you got a smooth ride to coast. Just understand it gets vicious on those what am I trying to say? Swap fees. Those swap fees are pretty vicious. So I would say get in and out versus like trying to hold. But yeah, I expected to break this area because or create since we're going to be at this range low, create a structure point for the market to have a data point so it can push up. You see what I'm saying? So S&P, same thing. Same thing. Dropped this morning. Shot all the way up here. And again, these are different annotations that I got, but like all you got to do is like not even to confuse yourself. All you got to do is just scale back again. You know what I'm saying? That's easy to identify that. Okay, once it's in a line chart, more than likely it's gonna break this because this ain't really strong support. When we see the market pop up, you know what I'm saying? Look at it. It has like dips. So more than likely you could say, okay, as long as it'll probably consolidate, but overall this thing is breaking the structure and even the structure behind because again, we're able to accurately like pinpoint the market based off the new information that we get. So more data that you get, clearer your analysis should be. You know what I mean? You're not going to be spot on or perfect, but it should be easy. Same thing with S&P. Gave us an opportunity to buy, what was this? Within this week. So all it did was consolidate and then push back up. Yeah. All it did was same thing, gap down here too. What time frame is that? Yeah, gapped right down here. That was Sunday. Last Sunday? Yeah. This was this past Sunday. So the market gapped down. It was violent. Then it pushed up, continued pushing up, and then we hit resistance. And I mean, it makes sense. Once it hits these points, it's like even if it's not going to break a structure point, like when it starts hitting these points that you know exist, like the ceiling of the market or the floor of the market, it should at least react to it. You know what I'm saying? You don't know if it's going to be like a major sell or a major buy, but it should react to it in some way. So when you start seeing that, okay, is that structure? What time frame? What time is it? It's 9:30 or it's about to be 9:30. That's opening bell. Okay, I know some reactions that happen, but for me to get clarification on what the market is doing at like I need for 9:30, basically the 9 o'clock hour candle to close, and then me to see what if 10 o'clock is basically like the retest in the direction that it's going. But for the most part, you can kind of, as long as it ain't consolidating, you can kind of see what the direction is from the market based off of like the 6 o'clock candle. You know what I'm saying? That candle is like bearish or bullish. Normally, that spells that the market is in that direction. And don't you have to fact check this for yourself. It's not going to be as clear cut as like, oh man, it's 6 o'clock. I should know because the market can pull back all the way to the 6 o'clock candle, or it can pull back a percentage of it, you know what I'm saying? So you would have to identify like where your entries are at. So right here, again, same thing. This thing is currently selling. The market is still open right now, but obviously you shouldn't be like trying to jump in the market, but it's currently open right now. What time is it? Yeah, 2:22. So you still should have some type of momentum left in the market. And overall, if it closed like if it pushes down within before like the close of the market at 5 o'clock, and then it like closes bullish, more than likely it's going to continue pushing down, which means that it's going to gap down. So we know if it gaps down, we may have an opportunity to buy back up for it to collect the gap. But I think it's going to cover again. When you look at this information over here, where was that at? Right here. This candle doesn't exist on the daily time frame when you turn it to a line chart. I'm pretty positive it's going to blow through all this candle right here. This entire candle right here. I'm positive that it's going to blow through that. You still got to find your entry, so it's not going to be a straight line. It'll probably drop, then pull back, consolidate, whatever it wants to do. But we at least know the direction that the market is overall trying to head for us. This is S&P, so same thing with US 30. NASDAQ will be a little bit different, but I still think it's going to be the same direction. Let's actually look at Bitcoin, because I'm looking at the same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has hit an area where like it hasn't broke this area. At first I thought that it was just retesting. You can see based off of the pattern that I drew. Now this isn't no pattern for anybody to identify. These are things that I use to see like what direction that the market is going, because had it broke this pattern, like broke this high, it created a ceiling. You see, like I drew this before all this happened. Like that's crazy, man. And I wasn't even like waiting for it. But I said fake out. I questioned it. Like, is this a fake out? To say that, because at that point I only had this information and that candle was super bullish. And then it started consolidating. Bad, bad. I'm gonna be talking about it all the time, Tabitha, all the time. Like that's all I've been trading. If you've seen like what I've been throwing in the chat, like I don't give out like opportunities for people. People would have to find their own entries, but the information that I've been like talking about, like people should be able to assist themselves in making accurate plays within like indices. But Forex is pretty much easy. So Bitcoin, you know what I mean? Like Bitcoin is tech related. NASDAQ is tech related. So once this market had hit this ceiling, it dropped. So and I had a range low already actively there. This was a support structure that I said that the market need to break. It retests that support structure. So I know for a fact that this market is dropping with a little bit of struggle. I mean, we're going into the weekend, so I wouldn't expect a lot, but maybe over the weekend it drops like pretty strong and stuff. I doubt it, but we'll see. We'll see. You know what I'm saying? Probably when the market open on Sunday, it might drop like aggressively. But again, we'll see. But like I said, S&P, US 30, man, these things, I'm pretty sure they're trying to find support. One thing about indices is that they try to find support as much as possible. So anything that you don't see on a line chart, you have to ignore it. So right here on the 8 hour, well, that's a custom time frame that I have. So if you look there's a gap. And Tabitha, before you got up in here, I was already telling like the YouTube that there should be a valley. You see how there's like a dip right here, but there's candles. That's structure. That's structure, right? And you see a candle right here, right? And that's supposed to be structure. But when I turn it to a line chart, it doesn't exist. So because it doesn't exist, the market was going to have to collect that money that's right there. They let that money go too fast, or whatever the reasoning behind it. You needed to see something like this for it to make sense for it to continue going up. But because we had this information, once it got to like the resistance that we had, the market started dropping, and more than likely it's going to blow past all this, probably retesting this same area. You know what I mean? It ain't going to just give it to you straight, but it'll probably blow past all this, retest to the same area, push all the way down, either try to find support or find a previous high that it broke out of. And then that'll probably be the bull move because overall, indices are up. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even see them. Yeah, just looking at this, it's like I don't even see it like if anything, this is just going to be consolidate another range. So maybe bounce down here, bounce up, bounce down. You know what I'm saying? It'll find its way. And once we get, more information, we'll see what's going on. But as of right now, it's dropping. This thing is dropping. So we should expect it to drop over the weekend, especially with that negative impact that Amazon had. And let's look at GBP USD real quick because that was given in the chat. That was a clean move for us. Yeah. Well, not the chat, the group. Oh, you caught that? Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up, yo. Hell yeah, that's what's up. I saw I caught that, yo. You caught it based off the call? Or you was looking at it yourself?
I was looking at it myself because the only pairs I'm trading right now is GBP USD and
Mhm.
GBP AUD. So
Okay.
my markup was the same as yours. So yours was just confirmation. And I be a little nervous with throwing bigger lots on there. So I was glad they had a confirmation so I could make some
Oh,
money.
you,
So
you threw a nice little lot on there?
I did. Look, I did.
That's what's up, yo. No,
I
that's what's
did.
up. This is what I be talking about, man. And $24 a month, and people like you saw what I made. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't
Yeah,
even about
yeah.
that because it's like I don't trade those pairs like that. But this is information. All this stuff is information. I don't trade these pairs like I used to. I just trade like the bigger money pairs, but it's still information that's necessary. You know what I mean? Like I use what I apply to these pairs to dissect that. I wasn't even looking at GU. You know how I even came up on GU? If you look at the first video I dropped for this week, I dropped a freaking chart reading, a chart marking video last week, matter of fact. That's
Yeah.
how I
Put it
ended
on
up
YouTube.
even looking at GU, being like, that thing looked kind of clean for us to, you know what I'm saying? Like from a chart marking, like I didn't plan to like uh really trade this or get in. Look at this. All this information is relevant. I didn't jump in GU again. I got out, but look at that. It came back. That's a gap. When I have the
I jumped
purple,
back in. So I
like
caught it on the ride down and I caught it
like
back up.
easy money, like easy money and stuff. This is the second opportunity that people could have had, and this was from NFP. You know what I mean? And that wasn't even violent. You know what I mean? Like NFP was kind of like yawn today. I was surprised. I was expecting a little bit more volatility. But like it's the beginning of the year, so the market doesn't really have enough data to really impact it. Nothing really major has happened. I mean, besides, the plane crashes and I mean, all that stuff was kind of not the plane crashes, but like Trump. That stuff was already accounted for from last year. So, you know what I mean? So there's not really enough different information that's going to impact the market until we get to like Q3. So it's just take your money and go. Take your
Right.
money and go. There's no point in trying to hold for the like, just take your money and go. You know what I'm saying? That's the best message I can give to people. But even with GU's coming down. I don't know what its intent is. Like if it's gonna, this is why I don't like dealing with this because it's not like it'll probably stay consolidated like this for like 2 days before it breaks out. You know what I'm saying? But no, don't get me wrong. Like it's still a good. You rather have that if you're the patient trader because like you can analyze if it gets ugly real fast versus like US 30 when that thing gone, man, it's gone. There ain't really
I think
no
that's why
like
I'll be nervous to trade US 30 and all this stuff because it moves so fast and I need to be attentive.
you got to get used to it. Yeah, for you definitely got to be. But really, it's like you get money from them in the beginning. You just take that money. You know what I mean? You don't be trying
Mhm.
to like because the money just comes so fast. You'll see 30, 40, $100. Like on a 0.01, you'll see $90 easily. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
easily. That means you can see that in the opposite direction too. So knowing that, you know what I'm saying, you gotta, and then there's just other stuff that, as we move forward, I'm gonna hone in on for us to really pay attention to, like your margin, like knowing what it costs to even enter in that. Because some people have like the money, but they don't have the money to enter in the trade, and they don't realize that. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
all
me.
that stuff is important to know because you want to be your own accountant. You want to treat yourself like you want to be a professional in this. You know what I'm saying? So you want to
Right.
know how your money is being spent, how it's being moved. We don't want to just like for some of for newbies like or novice, like I get it, like they're still getting their feet wet. For us, that's a little bit more experience. We need to know like the ins and out of these things. That way, like that helps managing your trade like more successfully. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and close this call. I gotta go up out of here. But if you're tuning in on YouTube, guys, as always, man, hit that like button. Drop a comment for anything that you guys thought of value today, anything that you want to know in the future. Like, and I hope everybody really had a successful trading day, especially like with NFP. It was pretty docile. Always make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will catch you guys next week, probably Tuesday. I may do something on Sunday. I may go live on YouTube on Sunday, but we'll see. I got a paper due, so we'll see. But I'll catch you guys Tuesday though for sure.